The heavens rumbled as if stirred by an unseen hand. Above the Snowmound mountains, turbulent streams of spiritual chi clashed violently, twisting the sky into a chaotic blur of grey, black and white. The land below groaned beneath the pressure mountains, trembling as though they might collapse at any moment. Within this storm of power, ancient grudges resurfaced, and killing intent spread like an invisible tide. And by cruel coincidence, Hanli had flown straight into its heart. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Righteous Prevalence Technique, Reincarnation Cycle Arts, Bright Jade Arts. Hanli swept his spiritual sense through the jade slip at lightning speed, softly murmuring the names of the techniques recorded within. From their titles alone, it was clear that all of them belonged to the Buddhist lineage. The moment Monarch Soul Divergence heard the last name, he cried out in astonishment. I've heard of this before. The Bright Jade Arts is an exceedingly rare technique, passed down only among Vajra protectors of Buddhist sects. It is notoriously difficult to cultivate. How could the Feng clan ancestor have obtained such a thing? Quickly hand over the jade slip. Let me see whether it can be used to dissolve baleful qi. Hanli was delighted by these words and immediately passed the jade slip into the bamboo tube on his back. Monarch Soul Divergence soon fell completely silent, fully immersed in deciphering the contents of the jade slip. While waiting, Hanli turned his attention to the Feng clan's secret cave, searching for the most valuable items it contained. He would have gladly swept everything away without leaving a trace, but the limited capacity of his storage pouch forced him to restrain himself. Aside from spirit stones, he had to be selective. He collected several magic treasures along with a handful of materials and talismans that would be of use to him. As for the magic tools, he chose only 3 of exceptional quality, leaving the rest behind. With that finished, his gaze shifted to the large pile of jade slips. As his spiritual sense passed through them, one particular technique caught his interest. After examining all of them, Hanli sat down cross-legged and silently began to meditate on that technique. Time slowly slipped by. Eventually, Monarch Soul Divergence broke the silence, instantly drawing Hanli's attention. He spoke in a measured tone. The Bright Jade Arts is somewhat unorthodox. Though it is said to be a Buddhist technique, its cultivation method is overbearing to the extreme, so much so that it could be considered partially devilish. A devilish art? Hanli's heart sank. What do you mean? Can it dissolve the baleful qi in my body or not? There's no need to rush. Monarch Soul Divergence paused briefly. It can indeed resolve your problem. However, the method it uses to deal with baleful qi bears resemblance to that of the devil Tao. You will not expel the baleful qi, instead you will refine it for your own use. This approach is inherently dangerous as baleful qi is not something easily controlled. You might want to consider searching for another Buddhist technique. After muttering this, he flicked the jade slip out from the storage pouch. Hanli caught it, his heart trembling slightly. He asked cautiously, refining baleful qi for my own use. If I cultivate this technique, won't I end up walking the same path as the elder devils? There's no need to worry about that. Monarch Soul Divergence replied calmly. The Bright Jade Arts is at its core a Buddhist protector technique. It will not lead you down the devil Tao. Although its methods are extreme and share certain similarities with devilish arts, the baleful qi merely assists in cultivation. It is not used directly to attack others. This eliminates the majority of its harmful effects. He clicked his tongue in admiration. Buddhist sects truly possess capable individuals. To think they could even integrate devilish techniques into Buddhist ones. I suspect someone on my level was involved. This is a grand technique, one that rivals even my great development technique. Hearing this, doubt rose in Hanli's heart. He immediately immersed his spiritual sense into the jade slip, carefully examining the Bright Jade Arts. Moments later, he exclaimed in surprise, "Yi, this technique feels strangely familiar. Where have I seen this before?" "You've encountered it before?" Monarch Soul Divergence asked in astonishment. "That's right." Hanli's eyes lit up. I remember now. This technique resembles a demon race cultivation art. Reaching into his storage pouch, he retrieved a palm-sized copper plate, the sacred provenance plate he had obtained in the scattered star seas. Without another word, Han Li began comparing the inscriptions on the plate with those in the jade slip. After some time, he discovered that while the techniques differed, they clearly originated from the same source. The bright jade arts was noticeably more superficial, and yet both techniques carried the same vague sense of incompleteness, leaving him inexplicably unsettled. Seeing Han Li repeatedly glance between the jade slip and the copper plate, Monarch's soul divergence sensed something amiss. What is that copper plate? After hesitating for a moment, Han Li sighed and tossed the plate into the bamboo tube. Senior, please take a look. My aptitude is insufficient to discern the connection. Perhaps you can clear my confusion. Monarch's soul divergence examined it closely. These are demon characters. This must originate from an extraordinary demon clan technique. Let me see. Roughly a quarter of an hour later, his expression sharpened. I understand now. The bright jade arts is an altered version of this demon clan technique. Moreover, it is based on the missing portion of the copper plate. Han Li nodded slowly. So that's how it is. However, the final portion of the bright jade arts still cannot connect seamlessly with the copper plate. It's missing another section. I didn't expect you to realize that as well. Monarch Soul Divergence chuckled. That's correct. This demon clan cultivation art consists of 3 sections. The bright jade arts only employs the most basic body refinement portion. As for the copper plate, it contains the incantations for the final ability, lacking the middle section detailing bodily transformations. He laughed with great amusement. Fascinating. 3 heads and 6 arms wasn't that the technique used by the Elder Devil? I've long heard that the demon clan had deep ties to the Elder Devil realm. It seems those rumors were true. Han Li added thoughtfully, then this technique was likely passed down from the Elder Devils to the Beast clans. Later, a Buddhist sect obtained part of its foundation and transformed it into the bright jade arts. For devils, demons, and Buddhists alike, to treasure it so greatly it must originate from a single profound source. He fell silent for a long while before sighing. Regardless of its origins, the pestilence demons within my body may soon fail to suppress the baleful qi. I don't have much time left. I must cultivate the bright jade arts as soon as possible. Monarch Soul Divergence nodded. Indeed, searching for another technique would be far too risky. And while this art may be difficult for others, the vast amount of baleful qi you possess will make cultivation far easier. I hope so. Han Li frowned slightly. But it requires a Vajra relic. Will there be complications? Didn't you just obtain one? Monarch Soul Divergence replied. That's precisely why I'm recommending this technique. Otherwise, I wouldn't have suggested it. While the Feng Clan ancestors' crystal relic could barely suffice, it would be far less effective. Once your spirit beast finishes consuming the corpse flames within the Vajra barrier, you'll be able to refine it completely. I'll impart another set of techniques to assist you. I once infiltrated one of the 10 great Buddhist sects for over 10 years, purely out of interest in crystal relics. There's no need to worry. Besides, even other Buddhist techniques for dissolving baleful qi would require a crystal relic. Given how widespread Buddhist sects are in Great Jin acquiring, one wouldn't be difficult. After careful consideration, Han Li felt reassured. In that case, I can proceed without worry. Since everything aligns, I should leave at once. Ever since entering these mountains, I've felt an ominous unease. It's not a good sign. I need to find a spirit vein and cultivate in seclusion. He cast one final glance around the hall before stepping into the transportation formation. In a flash of white light, he vanished. In the time it took to finish a meal, Han Li emerged from the Snowmound mountains as a streak of azure light. As he flew, he discussed potential cultivation sites with Monarch Soul Divergence. After traveling over 100 kilometers, a world-shaking explosion thundered through the air. Entire mountain ranges collapsed. Caught completely off guard, Han Li lost his balance, his ears ringing violently. His expression changed drastically. He glanced toward the source of the sound, then instantly fled in the opposite direction at full speed. After traveling another dozen kilometers, terrifying fluctuations of spiritual chi surged from behind him. A cloud of grey chi, a cloud of black chi, and a raging white windstorm tore through the heavens, chasing one another and rapidly closing in on Han Li. At his current cultivation, the distance shrank to less than 2 kilometers. Not good. Han Li cried out inwardly as his heart suddenly sank. He had intended to steer clear of the ongoing conflict, yet trouble had instead come looking for him. Judging from the oppressive pressure radiating from the three parties, it was evident that all of them were nascent soul cultivators. However, the aura within the cloud of grey chi fluctuated erratically, as if its owner had already suffered severe injuries. Clearly, the other two were closing in for the kill. Unable to fully evade them, Han Li hardened his resolve and veered to the side. He wanted to see whether the three would simply fly past, disregarding a mere foundation establishment cultivator like himself. After flying another 40 meters, Han Li abruptly came to a halt, his expression turning bewildered as he glanced around. The cloud of grey chi swiftly took the lead and brushed past him. Within it was concealed a pale-faced cultivator wearing a tall crown. As the man coldly swept his gaze over Han Li, a flicker of strangeness crossed his face before he continued on, shooting more than 100 meters away in an instant. Immediately after, violent tremors shook the heavens. From 300 meters away, a massive yellow gourd over 3 meters wide flew forth. Its mouth quivered as a torrent of yellow sand burst out, surging straight toward the fleeing grey chi. Soulful sand. The cultivator within the grey chi blanched. With a look of alarm, he abruptly accelerated, desperately trying to escape. Hehe, Brother Glorious Blaze, you're far too slow. A wild, howling laugh rang out as a massive man clad in yellow robes and sporting a thick beard emerged atop the gourd. Forming an incantation seal, he triggered a thunderous explosion. In the blink of an eye, the sky was swallowed by a dense yellow sandstorm, within which formation flags flickered in and out of view. King Glorious Blaze was startled by the sudden change. He hastily dove downward, only to be met by the same encroaching yellow sand. In mere moments, the formation had expanded to envelop an area spanning more than a kilometer. He halted abruptly and glared menacingly at the yellow-robed man standing upon the gourd. Their confrontation lasted only a heartbeat before the white windstorm and the black devilish cloud arrived, sealing all escape routes and leaving King Glorious Blaze completely surrounded. The yellow-robed man spoke calmly. Brother Glorious Blaze, when you fought Mr. Song of the Grand Yang sect, you were struck by the Sun-Thrust ruler. Your incomplete heavenly corpse body was gravely injured, and now you are surrounded. If you hand over your heavenly corpse pearl and allow us to place a restriction on you, we will spare your life. After all, you have associated with us for quite some time. It would be a shame to scatter your soul outright. King Glorious Blaze remained remarkably composed. His voice was icy as he replied, "So it truly was you, Master Wild Sand. Ever since I left that ancient tomb, I sensed something amiss. It seems you've been watching me this entire time. From the way you lured me here, you must have been plotting this for years. 10 years of patience if I fell into your trap. It can hardly be called unexpected. But do you truly believe that a mere yellow sand formation is enough to stop me?" Master Wild Sand narrowed his eyes. "It seems my goodwill has fallen on deaf ears. In that case, we cannot allow you to escape. Don't blame me for being ruthless. We never imagined you would carry something as precious as the heavenly corpse pearl. And don't forget, this gourd is filled with blue crystal heavens and painstakingly refined by Madam Heavenstone over the course of 100 years. If you believe earth movement techniques will save you, you are delusional." Shock flashed across King Glorious Blaze's face. After a brief pause, he let out a mocking laugh. "Blue crystal heavens and as if Madam Heavenstone would lend you something more precious than her own life. You're quite the bluffer." "Yeah." Master Wild Sand merely laughed coldly, offering no rebuttal. This silence caused King Glorious Blaze's heart to tremble. Despite their clear advantage, the three devils hesitated. Either they feared the consequences of forcing King Glorious Blaze into a desperate struggle, or they were plotting something more insidious. Seeing this, King Glorious Blaze secretly rejoiced. Before fleeing, he had already sent out a voice transmission for reinforcements. They would arrive soon. A suffocating silence fell as all four maintained their standoff. Unbeknownst to them, there was a fifth individual trapped within the yellow sand formation. That person was Han Li. Caught completely off guard, he had been swept into the formation alongside these terrifying figures. His mood was exceptionally grim, and he had remained silent throughout, hoping not to draw attention. He was merely waiting for the moment their battle erupted, so he could slip away unnoticed. But before he could act, a sharp voice rang out from within the black devilish cloud. "That junior is in the way. Let's dispose of him before we settle our affairs." The yellow-robed man glanced toward Han Li and spoke indifferently, agreed. "Let's kill the pest before it becomes troublesome." At those words, Han Li's heart ignited with fury. It seemed he had no choice but to use his final chance to temporarily lift the Soluk seal or perish here. Without hesitation, he formed an incantation seal and softly muttered a spell. His face rapidly cycled through the images of 5 glowing green ghostly visages. Immediately afterward, 5 egg-sized green orbs shot out from his body and vanished without a trace. At the same time, the old devil within the black cloud launched his attack. A portion of the cloud condensed into a massive black python, its fanged maw gaping as it lunged ferociously toward Han Li. Seeing this, neither the yellow-robed man nor the cultivator within the white windstorm bothered to intervene against what they believed to be a mere Foundation establishment cultivator. However, King Glorious Blaze's brow twitched, a hint of surprise flashing across his face. The enormous python descended upon Han Li, but he calmly raised his hand. A bolt of golden lightning shot forth, striking the python squarely. Its body convulsed before disintegrating into fine dust. Immediately after, Han Li circulated the magic power within his body. An astonishing aura erupted as brilliant azure light enveloped him, spiritual chi surging wildly. After effortlessly annihilating the attack, Han Li gazed at the surrounding devils and said calmly, "You four may settle your grudges among yourselves. There's no need to involve me. I'm merely passing through." Shock rippled through the faces of the surrounding devils. Only then did they realize that the cultivator who had been coincidentally trapped within the formation was an existence on par with themselves, one who had been concealing his cultivation through some unknown technique. Was this person harboring ulterior motives, or had he truly wandered into this by chance? The 3 devils hesitated, silently weighing the situation. King Glorious Blaze felt his heart tremble. He knew Han Li was the one who had taken the Vajra barrier and possessed some ability, but he had never expected such terrifying strength. His expression wavered. Han Li extended his spiritual sense beyond the sand formation and frowned faintly. There truly was heavens and mixed within it, and breaking through would require considerable effort. After a moment's thought, he turned to the yellow-robed man atop the gourd and spoke evenly. "Fellow Taoist, you've heard me. I have no intention of meddling in your affairs. Allow me to leave." After a brief hesitation, the yellow-robed man replied slowly, "May I ask, fellow Taoist's surname, and why you were in the Snowmound Mountains?" "My surname is Han. These mountains were simply along my path." Han Li's voice turned cold and impatient. That answer should suffice. The soul lock seal would soon reassert itself. He could not afford to remain entangled here. "Release the formation and let you leave." The yellow-robed man's expression darkened. After blinking several times, he shook his head. "That won't do. This sand formation is not easily dismantled. Loosening it now would give him a chance to escape. How about fellow Taoist waits for a while? Once we eliminate this old devil, we'll release you." King Glorious Blaze let out a laugh. "Fellow Taoist Han, if you believe their words, you're walking straight toward your own death. Once they kill me, they'll certainly silence you as well. If you're wise, join forces with me and break the formation. My cave residence is nearby. Once we reach it, you'll have nothing to fear. I can even swear a devil heart oath and compensate you handsomely afterward." Han Li raised an eyebrow, his expression growing increasingly grim. "It would be best if fellow Taoist considers the consequences carefully," Master Wild Sand interjected coldly. "If you help him, don't blame us for being ruthless. You should understand the power on both sides, not to mention how difficult it would be to escape this formation. Surely you don't wish to die here with him. My terms are simple. Remain here for a short while, and once it's over, we'll release you. I'm even willing to swear a devil heart oath." King Glorious Blaze turned toward Han Li and countered the yellow-robed man's threats, saying, "Fellow Taoist, do not be coerced by them. My reinforcements will arrive soon. As long as you protect me for a brief moment, you will have nothing to fear." Han Li's presence was the unexpected variable one that could tip the balance of this confrontation in favor of either side. At this moment, Han Li stood with his arms crossed, his expression contemplative and unreadable. When Master Wild Sand heard King Glorious Blaze's words, a sinister glint flashed through his eyes. However, he forcibly restrained himself from acting rashly. Though this young cultivator had yet to fully reveal his capabilities, the golden lightning he displayed earlier was enough to ensure that Master Wild Sand dared not underestimate him. Given the circumstances, there was no longer any reason to conceal his preparations. He spoke bluntly, "Brother Glorious Blaze, could it be that you haven't noticed the 7 devil wind seeds and the 3 yellow earth fiends? The moment you left your tomb, fellow Taoist Heaven Wind, and I set up a spell formation outside. Your reinforcements are still trapped within. Even if they manage to break through," he continued coldly, "they'll be delayed for at least half a day. Besides," a low chilling laugh escaped him. "Heh. Besides what?" King Glorious Blaze's heart sank. He clenched his fists and glared fiercely at the large man. Master Wild Sand raised his head toward the sky and sneered. "Besides, it's nearly noon. The eruption of yin qi within the earth veins is imminent. When that happens, your heavenly corpse arts will suffer a tremendous loss in power." King Glorious Blaze froze. A faint layer of black qi surfaced around his body. Then, with a ferocious grin, he roared, "Good. Very good. I didn't expect you to know so much about my heavenly corpse arts and even the yin qi of the earth veins. But those are nothing more than surface-level tricks. I'll let you witness their true might firsthand." With all hope of reinforcements extinguished, his fury erupted. Unwilling to wait passively for death, he unleashed his full strength. Only by doing so could he possibly sway Han Li to his side. King Glorious Blaze abruptly spat out a mouthful of black blood. It transformed into a fist-sized black talisman character, which shot onto his forehead and left a distinct mark. Demonic black light surged from the talisman as thick grey corpse qi roiled violently around his body. He threw his head back and let out a savage roar. Although Master Wild Sand did not know what technique he was invoking, he would not allow him to complete it unchallenged. "Attack. There's no need to hold back any longer," he shouted. With that, he stomped heavily on the giant gourd beneath his feet. It trembled and spewed forth yellow sand, which condensed in an instant into a 10-meter-tall sand flood dragon that lunged ferociously at King Glorious Blaze. Seeing this, the other two immediately took action as well. A white gale erupted with a deafening roar, releasing over 100 wind blades, each more than a foot long. They gleamed with dazzling white light and shrieked through the air with terrifying force. Meanwhile, the black devilish cloud released more than 10 flying sabers. Each glowed with pitch-black light and rapidly expanded from an inch in length to nearly 3 meters as they streaked forward. Concealed among the wind blades, the sabers were almost impossible to detect. Just as these combined attacks were about to strike, King Glorious Blaze completed his technique. He howled furiously. His crown flew into the air as his hair whipped wildly, rapidly lengthening several times over and turning a dark purplish black. Crossing his arms, his body surged upward, growing over a meter taller. A thick layer of green fur 3 inches deep sprouted across his flesh, while vicious purple-black claws extended from his fingertips. His face shriveled grotesquely, revealing inch-long fangs. King Glorious Blaze had fully revealed his true form, a 10,000-year-old corpse monarch. At the same instant his transformation ended. The sand flood dragon wind blades and black streaks arrived. His face twisted into a savage expression. He spat out a fist-sized golden pearl, which spun rapidly in mid-air before transforming into a massive golden hand that seized the sand flood dragon by the neck. At the same time, he thrust his claws forward to meet the remaining attacks head-on. The wind blades and black streaks slammed directly into his claws, erupting into blinding black and white light that engulfed his figure. A deafening explosion followed. Green light surged violently from his body, repelling the wind blades and flying sabers with overwhelming force. His claws, harder than steel and surpassing even magic treasures in durability, swept through the air. With a single strike, he blew away the combined assault. Meanwhile, the massive golden hand tightened its grip around the sand flood dragon's neck, restraining it for the moment. Watching calmly from the side, Han Li's expression shifted slightly in surprise. He hadn't expected King Glorious Blaze to still wield such terrifying power, despite being so heavily injured. But when Master Wild Sand saw the sand flood dragon restrained, he merely smiled and pointed at it. The dragon glowed with yellow light, suddenly froze, and then dispersed into scattered grains of sand. The sand swiftly condensed into a sphere, trapping the golden hand within its core. Without pause, Master Wild Sand cast a cold glance at both King Glorious Blaze and Han Li. He silently formed 2 incantation seals. In response, the distant yellow sand surged violently. Towering waves of sand over 30 meters high came crashing toward both of them. As they advanced, ghostly wails echoed eerily within the storm. The Grand Formation had been fully activated, drawing upon its restrictions. Master Wild Sand intended to eliminate both King Glorious Blaze and Han Li in one decisive move. The instant Han Li noticed Master Wild Sand's gaze fall upon him, he immediately understood his intent. If he hesitated any longer, he would be buried alongside King Glorious Blaze when the formation closed in. Cursing inwardly, Han Li finally took action. With a flick of his sleeve, dozens of golden flying swords shot out, circling around him before merging into a massive torrent of sword streaks that slashed toward the nearest wave of sand. Simultaneously, he raised his other hand and summoned an ancient purple mirror, pouring magic power into it as a beam of purple light shot forth. A strange sight followed. The purple light, normally devastating against mist-type formations, passed straight through the sand without leaving the slightest trace. Han Li frowned, his vigilance sharpening. The massive sword streak cleaved through the sand wave, tearing open a gaping hole, while King Glorious Blaze fended off several magic treasures. He saw Han Li attempting to break the formation and felt a surge of hope. He hastily shouted, "Be careful! Soulful Sand specializes in corrupting magic treasures." Corrupting magic treasures? Han Li was momentarily stunned. At that instant, a chilling yin wind surged out from the opening. Countless specks of black sand scattered across the massive sword streak. From each grain, strands of black chi shot forth, wrapping tightly around every flying sword. As soon as the black threads made contact, Han Li felt his connection to the swords weaken. His spiritual sense was forcibly expelled, and control began slipping away. His expression turned icy. Pointing at the swords, he uttered a single word: burst. Thunder roared incessantly. Countless arcs of lightning erupted from the flying swords, tearing the black threads apart and blasting open a vast empty space within the sand cloud. Han Li narrowed his eyes and stared into the depths of the cloud, his expression darkening. At its center hovered an enormous dense mass of sand. Though it appeared unremarkable, its sheer scale made it impossible to destroy quickly. As he hesitated, his face suddenly tightened. A pair of silver wings burst forth from his back. Thunder cracked, and in the blink of an eye he vanished, reappearing over 30 meters away. A scarlet halberd swept through the space he had occupied moments earlier. Though he had escaped, Han Li could still feel the scorching heat radiating from the halberd. Rage flared within him. After missing its target, the halberd spun and retreated back into the devilish cloud. Han Li lifted his head and coldly fixed his gaze upon the cloud azure light flickering within his eyes. Despite its density, his bright sight spirit eyes pierced straight through it. Inside, an azure-robed old man met his gaze, shock clearly written across his face. Han Li's lightning movement technique had caught him completely off guard. Without uttering a word, Han Li flapped his wings and vanished once more amid rolling thunder. The azure-robed old man was stunned yet again. But seasoned by countless battles, he reacted instinctively, slapping his storage pouch and releasing an azure shield that hovered protectively before him. In the instant the shield formed, silver light flashed from the side of the devilish cloud. Han Li appeared. His hands clenched into fists as golden lightning crackled violently around him. Thunder exploded as a dense layer of lightning condensed over his body. Then in a blur, he vanished once again. This time the old man's heart plunged. He instantly opened his mouth and spat out a sparkling green sword, which whirled around him in a protective arc of green light. Still feeling deeply uneasy, he prepared to release more treasures. But thunder suddenly rang out beside him. That's all for today's content. See you in the next part. Support me by becoming a member. It will give me more motivation. Thank you so much.